Frank from Media Temple, and I'm going to talk a little bit about hosting. I'm going to keep it really brief. So I'll skip over my introduction. Suffice it to say, I've spoken at a lot of WordCamps. I think I've spoken at 20 WordCamps to date since 2011. And I talk about all different subjects from beginning topics to more advanced topics to development topics, coding, just the gamut. Let me go through this. So what I wanted to talk to you today is a little bit about what you want to look for when you're looking for a web host for your WordPress products. Sorry about this. So we're going to talk about specs and security concerns. Then I'm going to talk about some tools and resources as well. And a little bit, I think I'm going to skip over community involvement, but all the slides are online. So what specs should you be looking for? If you want to run WordPress on a host, you need the minimum requirements to run WordPress. And those are PHP version 5.2.4 or greater, or MySQL version 5.0. And you also want to be running Apache or Nginx. You can be brave and try it on IIS, which is a Windows-based server, but I don't recommend it.
I've done it.
It can be done. It can be done. That's what you can say about it. It can be done. Basically, I don't know why that was there. That's weird. That was left over. But besides looking at the bandwidth limits, you also want to make sure that there's no storage limits as well, or what the storage limits are. Also, what's important is the number of WordPress installs. A lot of the hosting companies are coming out with WordPress-specific hosting products, and they're limited in the number of WordPress installs that you can put on it. Or maybe there's not a limit, but you need to find out when you're considering hosting. Also, you want to find out if a staging area is offered, so you can make changes, show that to your client before you push the site live. That's a really nice feature to have. And if you're not developing locally, you should be using a staging server to get everything out there, and then so you can test it out before you put it live. Also, this is a big one. Hopefully this isn't as big of an issue as it used to be, but a lot of clients still want email with their domains and their websites. Some of them do, some of them don't, but that's something that you need to set up with a hosting company. Also, you want to find out what additional services are offered. Will they migrate the site for you? Some hosts will do it for free, or sometimes they have specials running for you, where they will take your website from another web host and move it to their web host and do all the setup and configuration for you. So if they offer that, take advantage of it, because that's pretty awesome. And a lot of them do offer that for an additional fee as well. The other thing you want to be really concerned about is security. So you want to make sure that the WordPress core is going to be kept updated. So this depends on what kind of hosting package you have, but you want to find out, am I doing the updates? Are they going to be automatically updated for me, major releases? If you're past version 3.8, the minor releases will update automatically, but the major versions are still up to you, or if you have a web host that does it, it's up to them. So you just need to find out. Also, who makes plugins to updates and themes? I've heard of some hosts, they actually will update the plugins for you. Maybe that's something you want. Maybe that's something that would be disastrous. So that's something that you need to look into. Does the host monitor for uptime and threats? And I would say probably most every host that I know does. And so you want to find out if they have any uptime guarantees, or what they do if they're faced with some kind of a crisis, or even what they've done in the past, because nobody is immune from hackers. So you want to find out what did they do during the GoDaddy DNS failure or whatever. If there is if there's a problem with your hosting, how responsive is the support? Do you have to contact them on email? Do you have to do it on Twitter? Is there a chat? Can you call them anytime you want? These are things that are super important to consider when you're choosing your host. Also, how are backups handled? Because a lot of hosts will do backups for you, and they'll only keep a certain amount of days up, so you need to find out how many days they're keeping for you, and what the process is to restore that back. If it's that a hard restore, some hosts will even charge you to perform that restore. So these are just some of the little details that you'll need to find out about. Pretty much any host you go to will have good security, but you also want to make sure that you're doing something on the WordPress side and I recommend using the WordFence plugin. That's a free plugin that scans for multiple malware and security threats. So I recommend that, and make sure that you do your research and that find out that your web host is a good, secure company. But what if you need help? Support is like probably one of the biggest things that you want to consider. Is email okay? If you get a really cheap host that's in the Ukraine, is it okay that the hours are way off and they may not have somebody available to you when you need it? And pretty much you want to find a web host that has somebody there monitoring the servers 24/7, and you want your business is going to be, or the people whose site you're making, their business is 24 hours. So if something goes down in the middle of the night, they're probably going to be upset because other people in the world access it at different times. So you want to make sure that everything's up. Also, is there extra support? I was talking a little bit earlier about this. Is extra support and advanced configuration available? I know some web hosts will install caching for you. Some of it for a fee, some of it is actually free. There's a lot that you can take advantage with your web host. Mostly all the web hosts are very adamant about making sure that the developer and designers' needs are being met. So they want to hear like if things aren't happening right, pretty much. So which support is free and which is paid? That's important to know. It varies across all the different hosts. And also community support forums are a good resource. Usually most web hosts have something like this, or you might want to check and see if they have a knowledge base of past issues of how to configure something. I'm going to skip over community. Basically, it's important to give back to the community, and when you look for a web hosting company, you can see how active they are in the community by how many meetups they're participating in, how many WordCamps they're sponsoring. That kind of gives you an idea about the kind of feeling that they have towards their audience. So that's awesome. Get involved. Does community matter to your host? Yes, 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 yes. All right, so is there any questions? No? I know it's pretty quick, yes.
It's like a good resource to find on, I guess, sort of pricing, because I know Media Temple has a great service, but for like my own portfolio, it's a little overkill. I guess, how would you find?
Well, it would depend. You want to get really the best hosting that you can afford. If it's for your own hosting, you would compare what features you could really live without. Like maybe you don't need a staging server. Maybe you don't need automatic updates. So those kind of things, when you take away the features, and a lot of hosts, like even Media Temple, will have lower, different packages to meet your needs. And that's the same with any host, pretty much. Yes?
Can you talk, so I know you guys just introduced the managed product. Can you talk about what the experience is like on a great server to manage? Is that as simple as everything else you guys do, or?
Well, the question was, I'm not sure I understand the question.
If I like wanted to start out a client with grid server because they don't have the money for managed, but then wanted to shift them over to the managed product, is that something that's easy?
It would be a migration.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a migration, and but depending on what services we have available at that time, sometimes we include migrations with the upgrade. So that would be something to look into. But it's a totally separate system, so it would be a migration. The grid service, it's not hosted on the grid, it's hosted on separate servers.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Do you guys have video streaming service? Video streaming service yet?
I don't know. I don't know. Does Anita, you mean?
No, the Media Temple.
No, I'm not aware of a video streaming service at Media Temple. No, that's it. But if there's any other questions, feel free to grab me or let me know. Thanks a lot.